Hello everyone, welcome to a brand new series of Environment. Our story today is about the IUCN's updated red list. Recently, the IUCN updated its red list of threatened species. So what is this red list in the first place? Red list basically provides information about the list of threatened species. The list of animal, plant and fungus species into 9 categories. So what are those 9 categories? We'll discuss in detail. So, animal, plant and fungus species have to be mentioned over here. Animal, plant and fungus species. Information. So, what are those 9 categories? Not evaluated, data deficient, least concern, near threatened, vulnerable, endangered, critically endangered, extinct in the wild, and extinct. So basically, not evaluated basically means that it is not evaluated at all, as it is clearly mentioned. Data deficient means no enough information about the distribution or abundance in order to evaluate no enough information about the distribution or abundance of species in order to evaluate the risk of extinction. Then least concern is population is stable enough that is unlikely to face extinction. And then near threatened means it is likely to face extinction in the near future. Then vulnerable category is facing high risk of extinction. Endangered category means very high risk of extinction. Critically endangered means extremely high risk of extinction. Then we have the extinct in the wild category, which means survives only in captivity outside its natural range. The reason, that means, for example, the Hawaiian crow, earlier its status was extinct in the wild. I'm not sure about the current status, but it was because of habitat loss. And extinct in the wild can be because of various reasons, as habitat loss, the deforestation, and diseases, pollution. All of these can be reasons. Poaching in the sense illegal hunting and trading, like consider for instance tiger for its skin and bones and elephant for its ivory. That example I have just mentioned to explain poaching. So example, as I have mentioned, the Hawaiian crow. Then extinction means no doubt that the last organism has died. So these are the 9 categories which the IUCN red list mentions. So this order is in the increase in risk of extinction, from data deficient to the extinct category. So basically, within the IUCN red list updates recently, the first one that we're going to discuss about is the La Gomera giant lizard. La Gomera giant lizard is endangered category right now, and its location is Canary Islands of Spain. Then we have the Gran Canarian Skink and the Gran Canarian giant lizard as well. This is endangered category. This is critically endangered category, updated to. And then it is also its location is Canary Islands of Spain. Its location is also available in Canary Islands, Spain. And then we have Copiapo cacti, which is an ornamental cacti basically. It is endemic in the sense it is native to Atacama coastal desert of Chile. Okay, and then the Bornean elephant. It is the smallest elephant with wider face, which is present in the Borneo and Sumatra Islands location. You can mention as Borneo and Sumatra Islands. And here I forgot to mention about habitat. Habitat is basically like the address of a living organism. A fish living in river water, that particular river water can be considered to be the habitat of that fish, right? And then captivity, as I have mentioned, is zoo. Zoos or botanical gardens it can be. And then we have here I forgot to mention 82% is species at risk of extinction. This is all about the updated red list. Okay, so coming to the point of IUCN genesis took place in the year 1948, and its headquarters are at Gland, Switzerland. And basically it is the first global environmental organization which focuses basically on nature conservation and sustainable resource use. Nature conservation efforts include reducing overfishing and reducing deforestation. You can mention here reduce overfishing, deforestation, and restoration of ecosystems. Also, as an example of nature conservation, ecosystem in the sense a living organism along with its environment. Consider, for instance, a fish along with its environment, in the sense, a fish, lot of reptiles, crocodiles, snakes, all of them together exist in a river. So they all interact, all the species together with the environment in which they live. That we consider as an ecosystem. It is an aquatic ecosystem. Okay, so restoring the ecosystems can be a part of nature conservation. Basically, try to protect and care Earth's natural resources as soil, water, air, land, and so on in case of nature conservation. Sustainable resource use and development we'll discuss in a while. And then its key objectives include biodiversity conservation, is you basically trying to preserve the species, diverse species within their own natural range, as consider, for instance, in national parks. And then we have sustainable development. So what is sustainable development? It is basically an economic development wherein it is an approach to economic development wherein you try to develop economically, at the same time not compromising the quality of environment for future generations. Like consider, for instance, you are trying to establish an industry in a metro city. It can lead to soil pollution, air pollution, water pollution, or the deterioration of soil quality or land degradation. But at the same time, if you're trying to mitigate it, you're trying to use certain urban spaces, green spaces in urban areas, near your offices, green roof walls, or the parks that you have, the green spaces that you have near your office, college. All these afforestation efforts comes under sustainable development, because you're economically developing with the help of the particular industry, and at the same time the efforts of climate change are dealt with, right? The quality of environment is not being degraded. For the future purposes, they will be able to utilize it properly, because the pollution gets reduced with the sustainable efforts of afforestation that you're doing. And then it shapes environmental policies globally. Shaping environmental policies globally in the sense, consider, for instance, there is something called as World Conservation Congress of IUCN. It is basically an online platform of for conservation dialogue. So basically what they'll do is they'll actively participate in the discussions related to environmental policies, and they'll vote on certain policies. So consider for instance the Kyoto Protocol, which talks about reduced greenhouse gas emissions and to reduce global warming. So in order to form this Kyoto Protocol, there has to be certain active discussions, right? And IUCN actively participates in those discussions, and it means it is shaping those environmental policies actually. Then if we talk about the initiatives of IUCN, within the initiatives we have a green list, IUCN green list, which talks about or recognizes effective conservation areas. And then we have the World Conservation Congress, just as I have mentioned, it is also an initiative of World Conservation Congress is also an initiative of IUCN. And then we have something called nature-based solutions. So nature-based solutions are like you are harnessing the power of nature, that is you are utilizing the nature in order to provide, in order to tackle certain environmental issues as climate change. So consider for instance we are trying to restore mangroves. What happens is with mangrove restoration, it leads to thriving marine life. It also leads to reduction in coastal erosion, and it also leads to flood mitigation. Because of the root system that it helps to reduction in coastal erosion. So that is a barrier to the winds that flow, also to the water that flows, so flood mitigation. So these are, that means you're basically utilizing nature in order to tackle issues as climate change. So all of these comes under IUCN initiatives. And then the member organizations of IUCN members include NGOs, governments and research institutes. So basically the bottom line here is that nature is in threat as never before, and the onus lies on us to provide a sustainable future, to strive our best for a sustainable future. That's it for today. Stay tuned for more updates.